Oh, ho, 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 what is up, everybody? Greetings and welcome to another edition of the Locked On Padres podcast. As always, I am your host, with sometimes occasionally, but certainly not the most, Javier Reyes. You could find some of my baseball work. I don't know why I stopped there. You could find some of my baseball work at places like Baseball FYI, Fridays on Base, Off the Bench Baseball, or Just Baseball, to which I am a staff writer for. We're going to end it there. You guys know where to follow me and stuff. I'll repeat it throughout the show. I want to get into this because it's time for a crossover, ladies and gentlemen, a Locked On crossover. I'm being joined by Mr. Rylan Stiles, host of not just the Locked On Thunder podcast in the NBA realm, which you might be familiar with him from. He's followed by a lot of important people. It's a big deal. Or Locked On Royals, where he's also followed still by important people. But Locked On Royals is what is important today. But before we get into all that stuff, Rylan, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, Javi. How are you doing today? I mean, you're looking like you're in the library. I like that. I like all the books. Makes
Yeah,
you look
man.
studious. I like the background, like the new camera, like the microphone. I like everything. I'm feeling good today. Friday, everything's good.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good too, man. I mean, look, first of all, everyone, thanks for tuning in, for making us your first listen here at Locked On Padres. Hashtag first listen, as they keep telling us to say. We're free and available on all platforms. If you are watching on the YouTube, if you're not, then, go follow Locked On Padres on YouTube, where you could see me in my new HD camera. That's right. If people who have been watching me on YouTube, it's now an updated camera, so everyone has that to look forward to. And also check out and download Spotify Green Room. I'll be going live tonight at the beginning of the Giants-Dodgers game. You guys know who I am rooting for at Javier Reyes on the app, JAVIERREYES. But Rylan, dude, I'm in a great mood, despite kind of honestly starting off weirdly with today's crossover. Been messing up the ad reads and stuff. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I don't know what's going on with me. I'm doing pretty good, man. What has been kind of the vibe for you with the Royals and heck, just with sports in general lately?
It's been busy. Everything's kind of returning now all at one time, so it's been very busy. But good vibes only today. It feels good today. I got a lot of work to do,
Right?
but
Yeah, it feels really good. It's a Friday, man. At least that's what we're recording. I'm just, MLB postseason is the biggest, obviously, topic at hand, and I wanted to have you on because when it comes to doing general talks about baseball, you are, I mean, an S tier guest on the podcast. Longtime listeners are familiar with you. Longtime listeners might have listened to, in my genuine personal opinion, the most underrated episode in Locked On MLB Network, that channel, all of the podcast history, which is when we drafted Thanksgiving foods. I believe to my very bone, to my soul, that it is the most underrated episode ever put out by anyone on this, at least the MLB network. I can't attest to the NFL and the NBA, but I can say for MLB, super underrated. And I'm just glad to have you back on, man.
that was great. I mean, I think that lasted a whole week. We had so much content from it, but
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna do it again this year. I think. No, maybe who knows? But it
Mm-hmm.
was a lot of fun. I mean, you drafted items. I'm not even sure are
Do a
actually.
draft of some sort.
I'm not sure that you drafted items that are edible and exist like in real life, but I've never heard of them, so that's
Oh,
why I think that you lost that
the
draft.
acorn squash is what I got a lot of heat for, and I think that was just hate
I'm still
on
not
your
sure it's a
part.
real thing.
It's 100% real. Sorry that I had a sophisticated palate. All right.
Oh,
And that it wasn't all just turkey and cranberry sauce and your
hey, I
mashed
never drafted
potatoes.
cranberry sauce. Do not put that evil on me. That's not me.
I do stand by my take that turkey is just not that good. It's everybody stop. Like it's good when you mish it together with everything. But otherwise it's like what are we doing? Maybe we'll draft Halloween candies. Maybe candies could be our next thing. We are
That's a good one. We're
in
getting close.
October. Lee Ryland, we're in October. We are sports podcasters after all. At least for now, until we get to those candy or Christmas drafts potentially in the future. But before we get into the playoffs, I just want to ask you. You are the host of Locked On Royals. What's kind of just your general take on the season? You guys have not too much to be happy about. A very different type of unhappiness as opposed to my unhappiness with the Padres and their collapse. But you've got some top level prospects and Bobby Witt, your boy. What's kind of the feeling around Royals camp before we talk into baseball playoffs and stuff?
It's a disappointing season. This was kind of a season where you were supposed to kind of put your best foot forward and show improvement and uh, kind of kind of make that push similar to what the Mariners did. Obviously Seattle got really close where they were like days away from the playoffs. So you're hoping to be maybe weeks away from the playoffs this year, and then kind of set yourself up for next year, because 2022 has been the year that Dayton Moore and the Royals front office has always targeted as a day to get back to the postseason, and still sticks by that date right now. So it's weird, because I talked about this yesterday on Locked On Royals. It's weird because even as they played so bad this year, they had that amazing month where they were the best team in baseball for the first month of the season. They had a good September, and even while they play so bad this year, the roster won't change much, but yet the playoffs will still be the expectation next year with the expanded postseason likely coming to town, and also just the fact that the natural progression of young players, which will hopefully take place. You're going to hopefully have a better season from all of your young pitchers, which will just make you a better team. You're going to hopefully add Bobby Witt Jr. and Nick Prado, who are two of the best minor league bats in the entire world. Hopefully that makes you a better team in its own right. And then you get some bounce backs from a guy like Connor Dozier, who didn't play very well this year. And hopefully Mondesi can be healthy, which, the Royals aren't even counting on that anymore, but still it's a hope that you can put out there in the universe. And then you add maybe a bullpen arm or two in the offseason, and you're a team that can legitimately compete for the postseason. The only worry was this kind of the lone down year for Minnesota, or are they just going to be down for the next couple of years? Because if you didn't capitalize on this division, that's pretty weak whenever you look at it. The Tigers were scrappy, but they still only finished about 2 or 4 games above the Royals. The Cleveland Ball Club was not as great as they had been, but still pretty good. And then the White Sox were awesome, but you should have beat up more within your division. And really, it was just losing to the White Sox, that hurt them a ton in this division. So there's a lot to be, it's like a glass half full, glass half empty. You can say, I don't care about September. They do this every year, because they do. The Royals always have a good September. They try to sell you on that being what's going to happen in the next season, and it never does come true. Or you can look at a glass half full and just evaluate how young this team is, and hopefully that they'll take a progression that's linear, and you can have that going into next year and make the postseason and have a little fun. But I think that this year might have taken a step back. I mean, it's just hard mathematically to make up 20 games in one off season. It just is. And that's what you're going to have to do to get to the postseason. You're going to win. You need to win like 85, 90 games. So I think that, this year was a step backwards, because next year, if they are a respectable team and they finish just outside the playoffs, as Seattle did this year, as other teams have done this year, then that's still considered success, even though this team's been targeting 2022. And it's so dangerous not to make it next year, because Benintendi will be a free agent. He played very well this year. He could be in line for a huge deal. How many more years of MVP caliber Salvador Perez do you have left? And you don't want to keep wasting them. We've wasted them the last 2 seasons. You do not want to waste it a third year. You need to make everything that makes sense financially. You need to do everything in your power to buy this offseason and try to get there. But with that expanded postseason, this can all look different. And if there's an expanded postseason, then maybe the goal is actually to make up those 20 games, because now those 20 games are 15 or 10 or whatever that mark will be, depending on how many teams that they add. So it's all still up in the air right now. And you can either look at this very positively or very negatively. And most of the time, the truth's in the middle. So it turns out that this season was just a big
I'm surprised by two things. First of all, by how much of a monologue you had just now. It was impressive. I did not expect you to be just full in, just go all Royals there for a minute. It was great. I loved it. I thought you were just gonna be like, "Hey, we got Bobby Witt Jr. Hopefully he's great at the end." But instead, you brought up, Salvador Perez, who I think led the league in home runs this year, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, was it Ohtani? I'm forgetting if
it's Salvi.
Perez. It was Ohtani? Okay.
Salvi.
It was Salvi? Okay, yeah. He beat him like by 2 or 3, I think. I'm pretty sure. Salvi was awesome. Screw the analytics nerds who keep talking about how it wasn't that impressive. Guys, he had 49 bombs. I don't care. It was fun. Appreciate something in your life. The Freakalytics crowd is what I like
so
to call
sick of
them.
the analytics crowd. I really am. I mean, don't even get started on this crowd.
It's that. But I have 2 final Royals questions that tie into the Padres. Okay, 2 of them. First of all, why didn't you trade us Whit Merrifield when I asked you to? And second, would you like a Carlos Santana for Eric Hosmer swap? Could I interest you in that swap, perhaps? Maybe throw in, a pick or perhaps, but I'm wondering if that would be something you'd be interested in over there in Royalstown.
Well, Carlos Santana certainly was not any good this year. So
I'll take him.
Really. Yeah,
I'll take him.
Now he was a lot cheaper, so that helps your pods there because he's a ton cheaper on a deal you can easily get out of if you wanted to. If you just want to acquire him and then just kind of buy him out. But no, I think that the Eric Hosmer thing, it doesn't make a ton of sense because he can't DH, and you're going to have Nick Pratto come up and play first base and be an otherworldly bat, and so. The most ideal thing to me will just be keep Carlos Santana, even though he was not very good this year, or at least not, the typical Carlos Santana you would hope for, the way that he was in that first month of the season. You're going to be able to slide him to that DH role this year, play Prado at first, and kind of elongate your lineup a little bit there. With Eric Hosmer, I'm sure that he still has a ton of fans in Kansas City, but it would take adding a ton of prospects. I mean, you think about just the amount of contract that's needed, the amount of money that's needed, the amount of money that's needed to acquire Eric Hosmer.
Dude, but like he's a hometown hero. He got you guys the World Series. Like they play that dramatic song when LeBron James comes back, right?
Here, this is what I'm afraid of.
I'm coming home. Come on, I mean, that would be incredible, wouldn't it be? I think that would really help your team.
The Rays would never take back Evan Longoria's contract. I couldn't think of a Ray that they've actually paid before and liked. Nonetheless, the Rays would not operate like, he's a hero. Yeah, that was almost a decade ago. I mean, he can't play. He's a bum. I don't care what he did in 2015. If Lucas Duda knew how to throw a baseball, he wouldn't be a hero. So let's just relax a bit here because he almost lost him game 1. He gets thrown out by Duda in game 5.
Let's go, Rylan. Get fired up.
So I don't want the Royals to operate as an emotional franchise. Good teams don't act emotionally. I don't give a damn what he did before. We can celebrate that with DVDs. We can celebrate that with honorary old-timer games. We can celebrate that with retiring his jersey if you want to. You don't have to pay him the money he's owed this year just because he won a World Series.
It sounds like you're a little scared that the Royals might even consider that. That's what I can tell from you right now.
Considered at the deadline this year. What are we doing? And the Royals notoriously act too much on emotion, and they try too hard to play the heartstrings of the nation. Don't play my heartstrings. Just win baseball games. I don't care if you cycle through players before I can even know how to pronounce their name like the Rays do. At least they win ball games. Just win ball games. I don't care how you do it. If you throw Javier Reyes out there first base and you win ball games, I don't care.
Mad Dog is coming out. Mad Dog is coming out, guy. I don't care. Okay, I don't care about him with the hometown and the love. But anyways, look, it's a terrible offer. It would be a terrible thing for the Royals to do. A secretly not well-run team ever since the World Series run that they kind of
loudly not well-ran team, by the way.
Yeah, I think it's not quietly anymore, right? I think it's quiet for non-baseball fans. I think baseball fans are like, oh my God, this team is basically the Mets, but like in a different sort of way, I think. Or the Rockies or vice versa and what have you.
Farm system in baseball and had 2 good seasons to show for it.
Yeah, not great from the Royals. But Rylan, I want to tell you about something that is great. Okay. And it rhymes with Filt Bar. Have you ever heard of the Built Bars, Rylan? They're really good.
I think I've heard of them before, yeah.
Yeah, they're really good. They're the best protein bars in all the land, not just in Kansas City, not just in in San Diego, all the land. And what I love about them the most, aside from being covered in 100% chocolate, soft and easy to chew, I love their variety of flavors. They've got coconut, cherry barcia, raspberry, mint brownie, cookies and cream, which I know is one of Sir Ryland's, one of his favorite flavors. It's really, really good, guys. And they've got all these limited time flavors that they put in out there every now and then. I imagine they're going to have some delicious pumpkin flavor for just in time for the fall season. So variety is your thing. Built Bars got you there. And also they're protein bars, so they're healthy for you. 17 to 18 grams of protein, calories ranging from 130 to 180, only 4 to 5 grams of sugar, and only 4 to 5 grams net carbs. Guys, what on earth are you waiting for? Go to builtbar.com and use promo code LOCKED15 and you'll get 15% off your order. Remember, that is promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at builtbar.com. Once again, guys, I just want to thank you for making Locked On Padres your first listen every day, or Locked On Royals first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms, including the old tube that is for you, YouTube. See what I did there? So yeah. Now, back to what we were talking about, I guess, about Hosmer, because it's just a delight so far. Yeah, I really think that it's one of those like wishful thinking things on my behalf. Let me be 100% clear. Everything I said was total BS. He would be one of the worst moves that you guys could do. The only thing you could hope for is that he somehow isn't this bad, but he's not a good player. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's, you got to hope that instead of a 0.0 F4 that you get a 0.5. You know what I mean? That's the best case scenario.
Yeah, I mean, outside of last year, he's been this player, so I'm not going to
Yeah.
hold out hope
The
of
Pods
Eric
basically
Hosmer.
gave 8
Unless
years,
you're attaching
144
Mackenzie
for
Gore to this
38
thing,
games.
it's not very appealing.
I think that that's the only thing that could happen. And if I'm a team, I'm asking for, heck, if I'm a team, I'm asking for Abrams. Honestly, I'm asking for CJ Abrams, the top prospect for the Padres right now. I'm asking for Gore too, potentially. Like, there's no reason to do this. The only thing that Padres fans can hope for is that a team does dumb things again, like we were talking about with the Royals. But Rylan, let's talk about the main topic at hand before we went into the Eric Hosmer thing. Unless you want to continue just besmirching the man. And because trust me, the Padres crowd, they love it. They love it. It's so much fun. I don't know if you saw on Twitter the other day or whatnot, because you're not as plugged into Padres Twitter as I am. Someone did, like, you heard about the Zodiac killer got identified. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, that happened, and someone made this picture. If you guys are watching on YouTube, they photoshopped with the New York Post headline and showed pictures of Eric Hosmer for the headline
The
Zodiac
Raleigh
Killer
killer, he runs into a
identified.
double play every damn time.
Dude, the Hosmer hate on Padres Twitter is just iconic. Shouts to whoever posted that meme. I'm sorry I don't have your at on me right now, but let's talk about the postseason. The first thing I want to start with is, what did you think of the two wildcard games between the Red Sox and the Yankees, and the Dodgers and the Cardinals? And then what's kind of the thing that you're looking forward to most for the rest of the postseason, whether it be matchups, players, narratives, ballpark food, if you happen to be going to a game. I don't know. What did you think of the wild card game, sir?
Yeah, famously, a lot of teams around Oklahoma that are in the MLB playoffs, so I will not be attending any games this postseason. But I thought that the wild card was the same as it always is. There's always one great game and always one game you can turn off pretty quickly. So outside of just having the lore of Yankees Red Sox, the Yankees game was not very entertaining. The crowd was great. It was great to have that atmosphere again. And the Rays won game one, so they did their job there. Because I think that if you would have let the Red Sox win game one, that series looks totally different because of the emotional aspect of it. We've seen teams make a wild run before, and the Red Sox had that emotional high of beating the Yankees and also beating the Yankees team that called them out and wanted them on Sunday if there was a 163. Like, that emotional ride that they could have gone on would have been great. So it was great that the Rays just put their foot down and kind of kicked them while they were high. But I think that the Cardinals-Dodgers game was playoff baseball.
At least win once before you start doing the we want. You know what I mean? At least, because say the Yankees, let's pretend they won in 2017. Even if you had lost to the Red Sox a bunch of times, at least it's like earned a little bit. Like, all right, feel yourselves a little bit. Like, you have a win under your belt recently. But then when I've never understood, hey, Chris Paul, my beloved, when the line that came out that he was making fun of Giannis and his free throws, I was like, bro, stop. I mean, this is already like a genuine, one of the craziest thing that's happened at 36 years old, what you're doing right now. Like, and it wasn't his fault that Giannis randomly figured out how to shoot free throws, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, CP really blew that." It's like, yes, the 6'1" point guard supposed to guard a freaking anime character who's in his power up mode. Okay, anyway, but like, I hate when teams do that. Like, where are you getting off like talking stuff like? And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to do the whole unwritten rules are actually great thing. I think it's more, at least it gives us something to talk about. But yeah, Yankees Red Sox didn't go well, and I agree. The Cardinals Dodgers game, while it didn't go the way I wanted to, was a brilliant playoff baseball game, because the wild card, even if it's 1-1, dude, my heart was beating. Like,
every pitch felt
every
like
pitch.
It was, and it helps because the Dodgers lineup is so great.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't take a break if you're a pitcher against the Dodgers. No. So even whenever they're down 1-0, there's not in that bat where you can just kind of relax, because every guy is going to be capable of just sending it to Anaheim, or I don't know if that's the right direction, but nonetheless, like sending it far out of the stadium. So I think that game is just what made playoff baseball great. And I hope that we get that game and those type of games with fun teams, with teams like the White Sox, and that can bring swagger and bring intensity and bring highlights and bring bat flips and bring those moments that can get fans into baseball. I think that the biggest thing to help fans get into baseball was that Jose Bautista bat toss against the Rangers. I
Mhm.
want more of those, and I think that Tim Anderson is a prime candidate to bring some of those moments. I think
I
that
hope so.
that White Sox team is a prime team to bring some of those moments. So I'm rooting for moments and things that can get people to like baseball more than anything because my team's not in the postseason, so I don't really care who wins the World Series.
Mhm. Absolutely. So some people might be wondering why the heck did I invite you on when you have no kind of like investment in the postseason, but you are a baseball fan nonetheless, and I just like talking to you. But yeah, I agree. The White Sox are the team that I'm rooting for the most. If anyone wants to check out my ALDS preview between them and the Astros on justbaseball.com, you can go check that out. I picked the White Sox in 5. I don't feel great about it, especially after the events of yesterday.
I think that they punted yesterday. I think that they didn't even try to win that game yesterday. I think
It
that
was
they knew
weird.
Lance Lynn sucked against the Astros, and they
Mhm.
threw him out there, and they said, "Okay, we're going to save our best arm for against your number 2 arm, and if Lance Lynn somehow beats McCullers, then we're playing with house money the rest of the day. And if he loses, oh well, he would
Mhm.
have lost in game 2 as well. Who gives a damn? Let's just see what he can do against this team he's always terrible against, because we have to throw him eventually. Let's just throw him right now." I don't feel any type of way about that game yet. I think that it's a must-win game too, obviously. So
Mhm.
in like 5 hours from now, I might feel differently. But I think that they just didn't care about game 1, and they have to win game 2. Though they put themselves in that position where you have to win game 2.
Yeah, Giolito versus Framber Valdez. Interesting matchup because Framber Valdez, that's the thing with the Astros is their pitching isn't like going to wipe you out or anything like that. They just got all these guys that literally, and I wrote about this, like they give you the literal definition of quality start. They will not give up more than 3. And that's it. That's all they need because they have the best bats on the planet, pretty much, and including better than the Dodgers, by the way. That not even kidding. Their offense is better than the Dodgers. It's kind of scary. And the one thing that does scare me, they're hungry, dude. You know that they want to go out there and be like, all right, fine, fine. The asterisk, whatever. What are you going to say now? We're just going to win it again. I already know that's what they're talking about in the locker room. They're like, screw all these people who are acting like holy is holier than thou. You know what I mean? This is what they're saying. I'm not saying they're right, by the way. I do have some beef with the way we talk about the Astros where I'm like, all right, guys, happens. Can we like stop? Like, you know what I mean? I'm like a little annoyed with the Astros discourse at this point, but like it's that also doesn't mean I like the Astros. I don't know why. We have some people on this network, Brett Chansey. I'm talking to you, bud, who's always like, yeah, man, like, see, that's what I've always been saying. It's like, no, that doesn't mean I'm on your side necessarily. It just means that I do defend that you guys get a little bit more hate than I think is sometimes justified, especially because, like I said, people act like they're holier than thou. We don't have to go down that route of what
And I think
baseball
that with the
teams do to
Astros too,
win,
they're
but
really hungry, and also
Mhm.
that they have the experience, and that's why you cannot lose game 2.
Exactly,
In
exactly.
baseball, there's almost a never must-win game until you're facing elimination, because baseball's so wacky and random, and you see the Royals make
Mhm.
a comeback in every round in 2015 to win a World Series. So like it's weird what baseball is. However, when you're facing a team that's hungry, as you mentioned and laid out there, but also has tenfold the playoff experience than you do, that's the difference. It allowed the Royals to come back on the Astros with just 1 year of playoff experience. They were more poised and controlled against the Astros in 2015 whenever they were facing their first real taste of playoff baseball. The Astros were, and it causes you to do random stuff. I mean, Carlos Correa is a great fielder. Off his glove, series is over. Royals make a huge comeback in Houston, and you're not going to win in Kauffman Stadium. Like just those little details and staying within yourself and just remembering how to play the game of baseball, like not forgetting how to feel the ground ball. Those things right there uh, are just something that you can't really measure besides just saying, hey, they have experience and the White Sox don't. So as fun as White Sox are, they've got to go all out today to win. And you're going to get that travel day, so it's going to help you utilize that bullpen as much as you need to. Hopefully Giolito can be awesome. If they lose game 2, though, it's over, and just put the Astros in the CS, because they have the talent, they have the experience, and they have that desire, that fire in their belly, as you might say. So
Yeah.
it's going to be fun. I think that there's no bad matchup in the CS. I think that because the Rays are going to get there, not the Red Sox. Rays White Sox is awesome. Rays Astros
Mhm.
is awesome. So I'm
I
rooting
agree.
for moments. I'm rooting for just incredibly fun, historic games that we're going to remember forever.
Hey, Randy Arozarena. How about that guy yesterday? The stealing of the home. I think he had a home run too. Like
Imagine
Randy
if that at
Arozarena.
home happened in like a 1-1 game. That would have
Yeah, I
been, that
know,
would have
right?
been
Oh
wild.
my god, that would have been just iconic. Honestly, like, and he's already an iconic guy. He's become, you know how like by NBA vernacular we say playoff Rondo and stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah.
Like playoff Randy. I think we have to. That might be a new thing that we
I
have to
saw
talk
someone
about.
tweet
He's a
that shit.
solid player,
It's
but
like a real thing.
yeah, he's incredible.
And
He's
like
absolutely
imagine trying
incredible.
to tell your grandkids about him 20 years from now.
I know, man.
Like it won't sound real. They'll think that you're lying to them.
Yeah, they'll think you're lying. They'll be like, "What?" They'll think you're lying about that Rays game from last year, the game
Oh, the Brett Phillips
5
game?
at
The
running
Royals
bases.
legend Brett Phillips
Dude,
game?
oh my God, Royals legend Brett Phillips. It's just like, man, I literally am rooting for everybody over the Dodgers. The nightmare scenario for me is Red Sox Dodgers in the World Series, because it would be so hard, because my brand, I have to hate the Red Sox, but then my job is like I have to hate the Dodgers. I don't know who I would. That would be. It's
I'm
like if
always
we ever
rooting
had
against the
gotten
Dodgers.
Patriots Cowboys in the Super Bowl, where I'd just be like, I don't know what to do. The Cowboys are arguably, I hate them as a single entity more than any professional sports team. But oh
Well,
man,
luckily they're never gonna
so
get the playoffs into the
yeah,
Super
I'm
Bowl.
just happy that they're playing the Rays. I think the Rays, they just don't. They don't. The Red Sox are. I think they'll take one. I don't think they're going to get swept, but they're the type of team that is going to finagle a win. Boston sports has been punishing us for years, but the Rays are the type of team that doesn't blow it, like in the first round at least. You know what I mean? So that does give me hope in that respect. They got Shane Baz going out here, like just picking up random guy, Shane McClanahan. Like it's just unbelievable stuff for the Rays. But I'm with you. I'm rooting for moments. I think we're gonna have them. We had them last year. Heck, with my team, we had them. The Tatis bat flip, which is the cover of MLB The Show, was I think it's just in terms of a look. Yeah. Which I mean, my team, of course, is just a total just. Goddamn, dude, it's been dark. It's been tough, man.
Yeah, I mean
it's not as tough as some other shows out there that are like I have no good players at all. Like I can't talk about anything, but yeah, I think
it's almost worse because like at least teams who are like very bad, like the Royals were last year and they are bad this year, and the Rangers, like at least you can make a meme of it. Like you can make a joke and a bit around it. Like you can't joke about the Padres being terrible because they were supposed to be like World Series contenders. Like now
it's not like they got bounced in the wild card either.
You're having to put so much stress on like, okay, how do we actually get to the World Series? How do we actually get to the playoffs now? Like you're having to put actual like kind of investment into this offseason and like figuring out the pieces and trying to string and connect every little move together, where the Rangers and Bryce can sit back and just go, oh yeah, we suck. How about the draft? Okay. Moving on.
Okay, moving on. All right, bye everybody. Yeah, I think that with the Pods, it's like it's not like they got bounced in the wild card. Like that would be disappointing, but at least it's like, all right, well, the Giants blew up this year. No one really expected them to blow up as much as this. You got stuck on the wild card and maybe get bounced by the Cardinals or whoever the heck, right? Or the Dodgers. Which, man, I mean, let me tell you, if the Padres had beaten I mean, we were talking about this early on in the year about the potential for a Dodgers Padres one game would be awesome for baseball. I think in a lot of ways, I think the series would be great too if that ended up happening, but the wildcard game would have been magnificent. But of course, it did not come to fruition. That's why, like predicting and betting on sports is so annoying. Like nobody expected the Giants to be this good. And Rylan, speaking of betting, you like that transition? That was pretty good, right? We're back and better than ever. All eyes are on the gridiron as teams are back for another football season. And as always, Bet Online is your number one sport for all the pro and college football action this season. They've got updated odds, bets, props, and contests for everything. Bet Online continues to be the number one place. Head to the website, use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Don't forget to use the promo code Locked On to receive your bonus just for listening to this show. We gave you a promo code for 50%. From football, not just football, but also to baseball, to basketball, to boxing, to hockey, to even award shows. I don't even know when the next award show thing is, but they've got you covered for everything, guys. They've got all these fun props and whatnot. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all of your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts. Rylan, let's keep talking, man, because that's what we do here over at Locked On. We talk.
It is a podcast. So.
It is a podcast indeed. As much as I'd love to maybe Twitch stream or something like that. Maybe we should do that. I mean, I've been trying to get this kid to hop on Fall Guys for the longest time. And he's just, I just see his little Locked On Thunder username and he's like, oh, I don't know, man. I'm playing 2K or whatever that. Oh, yeah, you nerd. Hop on the Fall Guys.
Grinding my career.
The guys that waddle around, come on, you're telling me that this is the fun. Anyway, maybe we'll play a little bit later on today, but I want to talk to you quickly about the Giants
right now.
Right now, right after we're done.
Let's go.
I mean, I'm down. I'm down right after we put out this episode. I'm down. It's Friday. Hey, it's Friday, right?
Right.
Friday Fall Guys. So look, we just alluded to the Giants. I want to ask you about that series really quickly because I feel like that's just in terms of on paper. I don't think anyone debates that. That is the best series on paper. Giants Dodgers 107 to 106 wins. Incredible stuff. Do you have any kind of immediate thoughts rooting for the Dodgers? Then you I might have to end the pod. I mean, I might have to burn it all down right here.
The Oklahoma City Dodgers are, of course, a AAA affiliate of the Dodgers. So I've seen a lot of these players play in minor league baseball, but I'm not rooting for the Dodgers. I don't care who wins, and I don't like the Dodgers. I hate the Dodgers, and so therefore I would guess I'm rooting for the Giants. And you know why I hate the Dodgers. It's obvious to you, but not to other people. In terms of the series, I think this can be a historic series. This could be the moment series. The problem is they're playing on the West Coast, but I like what baseball's doing, starting the games at 8 o'clock Central, which is not going to be too terribly bad for East Coasters. Still a bit bad, but not terribly bad. I think that this can be one of those series that just is nonstop moments in a jam-packed 5-game series. I was impressed with the Dodgers wildcard game crowd. I thought that the crowd was less wine and cheese and more like actual genuine baseball fans that were trying to.
It's a good way to put it, wine and cheese. I like that.
Trying to get kind of energized. And I know that San Fran's going to bring it. Like, I know that the San Fran crowd will be awesome. They'll have the orange towels. They'll just be screaming their heads off and going berserk. So atmosphere-wise, you're going to get great atmosphere because these two teams hate each other and the fan bases hate each other. You don't need motivation to get this kind of environment for either side. Now, hopefully the games live up to that and the games are very close. That's all I want. I just want close games. That way that atmosphere can really be put on display and the intensity of baseball can be put on display. Because I think that people don't realize how intense baseball is and how, like, because you can't really do the whole dunk on your opponent and start pointing at them and screaming and going crazy and jumping on the scores table. Like, you're not going to do that a ton. You might scream whenever you strike somebody out or something, but it's not going to happen every single moment. But every moment defines what happens in the end. You know, that leaping catch that you make in the third inning that looks almost routine because they're so great, that saved 2 runs and now you win by 1 run and that saved the entire series. Like, stuff like that needs to be explained more than in other sports where it's just kind of obvious that, hey, if I dunk and get 2 points, that's a great thing. I can get excited about that. Like, I think that this is a series that can highlight all the intensity that goes into baseball and goes into, playing baseball and watching baseball. So I think that this can be a great one. It's hard to kind of bet against the Dodgers. It just is. And for some reason, I just can't get behind the Giants being a great baseball team. Like, even as they win 107 games, I'm just like, they're going to fall apart eventually. Well, they won 107 games, so probably not. But there's just something about this team that I just can't fully buy into. It's like the little engine that somehow won 107 games. So I'm going to say the Dodgers win, but I'm hoping that the Giants win, and it's a close one, and it goes 5. I think that this is the series that has Game 5 potential. I'm not sure about the other ones.
It's one of those things where does the breakout, because a lot of the guys on nice. What is that? Is that signed by someone or? What is that?
It's the official baseball of the Pacific Coast League.
Oh, nice. That was really a prop. I didn't expect you to do that. That was awesome. I mean, I got
another prop right here. My hair ties in the way.
I have my little Luffy guy right here, but I don't have any props. Oh, who's that?
Mike Moustakas right here.
Mike Moustakas.
He got sent down in 2014. Sorry, guys. he got sent down in 2014 into Omaha right before the playoffs. He was pissed to be there. Did not want to be there, but he still signed autographs. Still signed for all the Royals fans there because there are a lot of ones that go to the Oklahoma City games. And so he signed all these autographs, and he immediately goes over the 3 strikeouts and breaks his helmet because he throws it down so hard and breaks his bat over his knee. He did not want to be there. And then he becomes a playoff hero in 2014, as you put it, for Hosmer. He was actually a real playoff hero against his hometown Angels. So it was a ton of fun getting that autograph, and got props here to enlighten you. I don't have the fancy backdrops of all the books that you're reading, although I would contest that you're like LeBron. You have all these books, you've never read a damn one, and you're on the first page of all of them. You're gonna show up pregame to the podcast, walking in your fancy outfit, looking at the book like you're reading it, and you're in the index, and you haven't read it.
Yeah, like I was texting my butler to send me something down before, just a couple minutes ago. It's gonna bring me like some cheesecake type of thing just to get the energy going. But no, I mean, no.
I remember whenever you did this on
my
your
mom
bed.
is a big book nerd.
I remember whenever you recorded podcast in bed. That's how long.
I know.
I've been with.
Wow. Oh my God. That's a good point though. Like, it's been a while since I've
You would wear a
recorded there.
Snuggie.
Yeah.
You would wear a Snuggie, and you were just slumped. You were just
I need to bring back the Snuggie though, because it makes me look like the swinging friar. I need to bring that back. That actually is a
And bring
really
back the
great
long
point.
hair, bro. Look at this flow. Look at this flow.
Oh, I know. I'm actually getting
Look at the
another
long hair.
haircut
Come on
because
now.
I gotta get rid of this part right here. But yeah, man, I agree on all the things about the Giants and Dodgers, except for the funny thing is I don't think, now, in fairness, it did get balanced out because Max Muncy also is out for the Dodgers too. But Brandon Belt, like, I don't think people realize how good he's been just as an offensive player. He's been one of the 5 best, literally one of the 5 best since 2020, like WRC plus wise. I know you're not a stat guy, but like, I don't think that's too much of an advanced one. It's fine. Yeah.
Stats, please give me a break. Home runs, runs scored. Let's do it. You know what stat matters the most, Javi? How many runs did you score that day? Right? That's the only way we can win ball games. How many runs did you score that day? So that's what I want to know. Whenever these stat nerds, you don't even start on the stat nerds. You mentioned it earlier about the Perez thing. I'll take his home runs and his all his home runs and sacrifice 20 walks. Because you know what happens whenever you walk on a bad baseball team, Javi? They don't fucking drive you in. And I'm sorry for cursing that. They don't drive you in, Javi. All right? Who's going to drive him in? So what did he do? He walked, and now his OBPS Bacon plus 2,000 is a point percentage higher than it is now. But he doesn't have the run. And what do you do, Javi, when you don't have runs? You lose ball games. And the Royals lost plenty of ball games. They don't need help doing that. So score runs.
Mike, but let me tell you something real quick though. Like, if you bring up the numbers, it's
we should do a Locked On Mike and the Mad Dog parody show.
It's just us, but like some filter is on there.
I gotta tell you, I don't like the stats. I don't like the advanced numbers. What are we doing OPS for? Batting average, home runs, RBIs. They were good for 100 years, and now all of a sudden they're not good anymore. How come we could tell that Babe Ruth was a good ball player, but to know that Mike Trout's a good ball player, I gotta have the arc rate good 50,000.
It's just great. It's great. Mike, you don't understand the walk rate. You don't understand the walk rate on this one, all right? I don't even know I can't do a Francesa. I wish I could. But yeah, I can't. I tried to do a Francesa. It's just too hard. He's the Pope of New York over there. But yeah, I mean, look, sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. I agree sometimes the Freakalytics crowd, when they start bringing an expected ERA for a guy who has like a 7 this year, it's like, when's it going to happen? After the next election? Is that when the xERA is going to kick in? A good friend of mine who's been on this podcast before, Colby Olson, who's not, he's not part of the Freakalytics crowd. He's just an analytics. He's like in the middle between Freakalytics versus, so he's pretty solid, but like, he's been riding for Eduardo Rodriguez of the Red Sox, who got lit up yesterday, did not last more than an inning. And then he's always been talking, dude, his xERA and all this stuff. And we're all like, yeah. So it's becoming an ongoing joke that every time someone's like, wait, yeah, when does that next Doctor Strange movie comes out? And someone will just be like, when Eduardo Rodriguez's expected ERA is going to kick in like 2023. So that's an ongoing joke. Stats are helpful. They're useful, but there is a Freakalytics crowd who seems almost hell-bent on making the sport boring sometimes. I'm not talking about all of them. Some are creative. You've seen like guys like, Foolish Baseball, who make great content on YouTube, where like even the little things like making it very video gamey, they have a meme kind of vibe to them. If you're just going to get up here and be like, Juan Soto, clear MVP because his WRC plus was higher by 6 points. It's like, well, did he have one meaningful at bat? And by the way, it's not his fault, but did he have one meaningful at bat for the Washington Nationals this year after the trade deadline and all that? No, like there was no at bat where it was like, wow, they really need him to do that. Whether or not that means that it's easier to hit versus harder, I don't know. But like, I'm just saying, like, you can't ignore those things. Bryce Harper's out here getting like only 4 pitches to hit a game because they know he's the only one useful in that lineup, and they want to beat the Phillies because the Phillies, and they need him. They need him to do well. So that's my
Everyone
MVP
tries
pick.
to reinvent the wheel, and it's not that complicated. Baseball is an all-around pretty simple game. Let me tell you something. I don't give a damn how many times Salvador Perez walks. Because you know what? He's barely faster than Billy Butler. So if he gets on first, he ain't stealing second. Right? And if he gets on first, you know who's not going to drive in Salvador Perez? Ryan O'Hearn, Ryan McBroom. These guys are not driving in Perez. Because you know what? Not only would they need to get a hit, but he's only so fast. He can only get to second on a single. He can maybe get to third if you somehow put it in the gap. He's not incredibly fast. You need 2 hits. You know who didn't get many hits last year, Javi? That damn Royals lineup. Right? So I'd rather have the home run than a walk. I just would. And all this nonsense, that started with Billy Beane, who's never won anything in his life, by the way, I might add.
You got to be careful. Be careful now, sir.
It's so easy to win a World Series that Dayton Moore's done it and he's been there twice, but Billy Beane can't construct the lineup that's good enough to do it. Now, I will say, I do respect analytics to a degree. I want to make that perfectly clear.
No, right? No, let me be clear. All the past 15 minutes, I do respect you guys still. It's like, what's going on?
But there's a difference in taking it to, there's a step too far, right?
Yeah.
I think that analytics can explain Nicky Lopez's season, where all of a sudden this guy who got sent down in training camp and was terrible last year and worse here in baseball, all of a sudden is better than Carlos Santana. That there's reasons for that. But when it comes to something as simple as Salvador Perez home runs, and you're going to complain about his home run total and say that they hit too many of them and should have done something else, you're just being a jackass at that point. You're just being unnecessarily difficult. Like, that's all you're doing. Like, we don't need to go that far, right? You can talk about how unlucky somebody is. That's fine, although that's part of the game. So, like, it doesn't really matter how unlucky they are. You can talk about all that stuff, but whenever you're trying to act like what Perez did this year wasn't great, we've taken it too far, and that's what turns people off. Like whenever you want people to come to your side and be on your side of this and embrace analytics, you cannot take what's objectively awesome and what Salvador Perez did for a meaningless Kansas City team and make it something that's not fun. And make it something that's just, oh, well, actually, let me tell you why you're so stupid and why you are so backwards thinking and why you are not ahead of the times and why you are so stuck in your ways. No. You know what's cool? A damn home run. You don't need to explain it to me. It's a home run. I get it. Right? Like, not everything needs to be quantified and like, well, actually, let me tell you the scientific reason why you should actually be doing this and not that. No. What you should be doing is having fun. This is a sport. Have fun. Basketball is the only sport that does advanced stats good in the sense of it doesn't necessarily overinflate or overconflict with fun. The only time, and this is one example of where basketball stat nerds got in the way, was one time Anthony Edwards last year had an incredible dunk. And Nate Duncan said, well, he's not very efficient tonight. Don't give a damn. Yeah. It's a great dunk. But it's so rare in basketball. We can remember the one time. In baseball, they try to take away every milestone. If you've ever accomplished anything in baseball, they say, well, look at this one metric we made up 5 minutes ago that we calculated and calibrated every single at bat from whenever he was a teenager in high school and whenever he was a little leaguer. And now all of a sudden we're going to add in his Major League Baseball season, and he's actually not that good. Okay, what are we doing? Just stop. Just stop. Whatever happened to batting average? Whatever happened to RBIs? Whatever happened to runs scored? I want to know. I want to know what we do with them. I got the telecast on here. It can't show me the broadcast on TBS. It can't show me the miles per hour on a pitch. It can't show me the strike zone. It can't show me who's the batter. It can't show me what kind of pitch was being thrown. But it can show me a guy's OPS plus 3,000. I don't give a damn. Let's play baseball.
I agree. Let's play baseball.
What's the league average?
And I will say, no.
I don't
batting average? I have no idea.
Exactly. What's the league average for OPS?
I got to stop you before it's too late.
Bring back the batting average. That's what I'm rooting for.
Bring back the batting average. Rylan Stiles, on that note, let's start wrapping this up. Is there anything you have? I thought you were great on this podcast. I thought your WRC plus was 160. I will say, I thought you were great.
I don't even know what
that means,
replacement.
A wins above replacement of 7.
I don't know what WCR plus is.
Then look it up. Maybe that's your fault. All right? Huh?
Maybe we should come up with stats every 5 minutes. Baseball's simple. You either hit the ball or you don't. You either get on base or you don't. You either strike
Hall of Fame
out
old man for me
or you
right
don't.
now. This is Hall of Fame old man for me right now. But no, in all seriousness, guys, before Riley gets a little bit too more worked up and getting himself canceled on baseball Twitter, Riley, do you have any other last words, final words you want to say? Not on analytics, but just on baseball. Any World Series prediction you might have, if you want to call your World Series winner right now, go for it before we wrap this thing up.
I got Rays winning the World Series. They're actually going to take it home this year. I hope anyway. I love what the Rays are doing. don't have any baseball predictions. Hopefully the Royals are good next year. I think that they really can be a good team, as we had our opening monologue earlier about that. Love the show, Javi. First time, long time. I guess now third time, long time. But nonetheless, we're going to be back. We're going to do some sort of draft. We might do all three. We might just do a Halloween draft, a Thanksgiving draft,
Yeah.
and a Christmas Day draft. We might as well do that. So it'll be a ton of fun all offseason long. I wish we were in the same division to where we could actually talk a lot more, but it's always a pleasure talking with the man himself, Locked On Now, Hall of Famer, Javier Reyes.
Thank you
You
so
also got my
much.
Twitter
Sir.
handle wrong, which I am very offended by. It's just there's no one.
Did I really?
There's no one on my Twitter handle at all.
That's a lie. Oh my
My
God.
Twitter handle does not have a one.
That's so weird.
Never had a one. It's never had a one.
Who did I mix that up with that? I guess maybe it was the template or something like that I messed up. I don't know. But anyway, aside from that disgraceful moment by myself, yeah, maybe we'll do a draft for favorite baseball moments of 2021. We could do that, maybe. That could be a lot of fun, something like that. But on that note, guys, thank you for listening to today's episode. Thank you for making Locked On Padres your first listen every day, or Locked On Royals your first listen every day. Now make your second listen Locked On MLB. Paul Francis Sullivan, but please call him Sully. He brings you his unique perspective on the major leagues, both past and present. It's free and available on all platforms. And with that all being said, that about does it for today's edition of the Locked On Padres podcast, everybody. The only pod that may be better than the Padres themselves. Remember to subscribe to the podcast on all free platforms and whatnot. Follow the YouTube, Locked On Padres. You're seeing me in my new HD camera. You're seeing Rylan with the flow. It's really great stuff on there. In terms of the future of the pod, next week, going to be talking about the most top 10 tragic moments of the Padres 2021 season. Eric Hosmer slander. Eric Hosmer. Just the whole top 10 will be Eric Hosmer. Lots of slander for that one. But yeah, I had a blast. And until next time, stay safe. And of course, stay faithful. My Friday Faithful homies, take care.